All right, this is part one of part two of part three. We got a couple different lesson series going on. This is from the partial chord lesson series. In lesson two, lesson one, we learned a bunch of chord shapes. Lesson two, we learned this song with the backing track where we're actually using the chord changes in a Steve Cropper style, where you're playing a backbeat rhythm guitar part. Basically beats 2 and 4. 1, 3, and 4, and 1. Like that. In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to craft a guitar part that meshes with that. A second guitar part that you can play that doesn't get in the way of everything else. This is a very eighth note feel. You know, everything is pretty much eighth notes, but what this guitar part is going to be doing is it's going to be subdividing 16th notes. It's going to be going twice as fast. So what you really have to be able to do is you have to be able to feel the quarter note and then be able to play 16th notes, or basically 4 pick strokes, down, up, per beat. And we count it 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. All right. I'm not going to get too much into 16th note mechanics as far as rhythm guitar goes. What you want to keep in mind is that this has to go consistently all the way through, and it has to be in time. Now, because we're playing a single note, we're not doing this, that kind of deal. We're just doing the single string. All you have to worry about is that we're playing a C on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and you're either muting it by touching it with your finger, but not pressing it down to fret it, or you're fretting it. Alright, so the part is going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 3 E and a. Now if you watch my picking hand, if you watch it with the sound off, you wouldn't be able to tell what the rhythm is, because it's staying consistent. That's a real important idea. Alright, now we want it to be the same all the way through. If we start getting crazy and doing all kinds of different stuff, and stepping all over the other parts, it's going to kind of wreck everything. This is a part that you almost, if it's mixed properly, you're going to feel more than you're going to hear. And that's not, it's a real important idea. It's going to be extra loud in this because I want you to be able to hear what we're doing, but typically if I was playing this, I'd be backing my volume down a little bit. It would kind of pop in and out of the groove, kind of like if you were listening to a James Brown tune and you hear there's a couple guitar players, but you can't really quite tell where one part starts and the other part ends because they're not playing stuff at the same time. They're playing stuff where the parts kind of mesh up together like that. All right, so I'm going to play the idea, and then I'm going to add a couple of little bits here and there at the end of each phrase to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. I'll try and stay out of the way of the main part, but the notes that we have here, it's just a little bit out of the major pentatonic scale in C. In this case, we've got the 5 and 7 on the 4th string, 5, 7, and occasionally 9 on the 3rd string. All right, so here is our groove. This is the same backing track we used for the last lesson, and it'll be on my website with this lesson. So we go. Coming up with a couple different variations, and you can tell I'm not doing this where like that's just too much stuff, and I'm not also not like just kind of playing random stuff here. I'm trying to keep everything kind of nice and what we call in the pocket, which is where all the subdivisions or the smaller parts of the beat are nice and even. All right, and like I was saying before, this is really the most important part of all that. What we're going to be doing is the B section of the song, which is the part that starts on A minor. The first part had a real tight pocketed single note part that fit in. This is all being guitar 2. All right. The second part we're going to be playing sixths, which are two notes that are 6 scale tones apart, and use those to kind of make this B section a little bit more interesting. The connection with Steve Cropper is that he used them on the song Soul Man. It's just something, it's a nice device that sounds a little kind of country. We hear it a lot in country music, but it sounds cool in this context as well. So here we go. Here's the demonstration of it. Back to the single note groove. The first half of this, and so on. The sixths come in 2 varieties. We have the major sixth, and then we've got the minor sixth. Now, funny enough, the major sixth is actually fit over the minor chord, because what happens is a major third, if we're going up a major third, we're actually going down a minor sixth. It's kind of a confusing theoretical deal, but all you really got to realize that when you're playing an A minor chord, this is where you're going to start. This is the A and this is the C, first and third strings. Now, a pattern that you typically use over a minor chord, where we've got, like in the A minor, we're doing the 5th fret, both fingers, first and third string, the 7th fret, and then we've got the 8th and 9th. Right. If this was an A major chord, like an A major bar chord, we would actually have the note on the 6th fret on the 3rd string, and then the 5th fret on the 1st string. And the pattern would go like this, and then 7, and then 9. All right. Now, over the minor chord, we're just playing those 2 notes for the A minor. When it goes down to the G chord, the first time, we're going up to the 7th fret. Keep in mind this pattern we have here. Alright, this time we're using that up there. And then we get up to the C chord, and I'm using this pattern once again, the 9th fret on the 3rd string, 8th fret on the 1st string. There's 2 bars of that. So on the 2nd bar, we're coming up to the 12th fret on the 1st and 3rd strings. And then the second time through, we're going A minor like we did last time, down to the G. And what we're trying to do is give our phrase a little bit of contour so that there's kind of like a question and an answer kind of vibe to it. And then we've got C, back up here, 8th and 9th fret, and then D on the 4th bar of this time through, which is the 10th and 11th. The third time is just going to be like the first time. A minor at the 5th fret, the G major, both on the 7th fret. Then we've got the, the C major, which is 8 and 9 on the 1st and 3rd strings, and then 12 and 12 on the 1st and 3rd strings. And then the last time we only have the A minor and the G. And instead of going up to the C, we go back into that kind of groove. All right. So that's what we're doing as far as these sixths go, and we're just making something that it's a little bit different. The notes are a little bit more sustainy, a little bit more melodic. It just kind of gives, especially because we're starting on a minor chord, it gives everything kind of a little bit of a step away from the original groove, even though we're still really the drum beat's staying the same all the way through it.